morning. Welcome to another edition of
You News,
where you are the reporter. Make sure to keep sending in those stories. We got a great one for you today. And what are today's top stories?
Today's top stories. Liz Truss is the new Prime Minister of Britain, the third woman ever to hold that office. A Californian house has been hit by speeding cars 23 times throughout the years. At least 23 times. A special report from Minnesota by Rande of GoMidwestFishing.
All right, so we start today off with the new PM. The end of the Labor Day marks a loss for the Labour Party in Britain, but a win for the Conservatives. Liz Truss wins the vote to become Britain's next PM. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss became the country's new Prime Minister on Monday, capturing 57% of the Conservative Party vote to replace the scandal-laden and messy-haired Boris Johnson. Long considered one of the strongest contenders for the post, Truss becomes only the third woman to lead the British government behind her role model, Margaret Thatcher, and Theresa May. Rishi Sunak received 43% of the Conservative Party vote. Sunak said on Twitter after the election, "It's right we now unite behind the new PM, Liz Truss, as she steers the country through difficult times." So that's a very, very nice speech from the loser. And she will officially take the post Tuesday after meeting with Queen Elizabeth II.
I bet she'll get along smashingly with Elizabeth. She has the same name.
There you go. In her first speech, Truss praised Johnson, whom she served under in her current position. "Boris, you got Brexit done, you crushed Jeremy Corbyn, you rolled out the vaccine, and you stood up to Vladimir Putin," Truss said. According to CNN, "You are admired from Kiev to Carlisle. I know that our beliefs resonate with the British people. I campaigned as a conservative, and I will govern as a conservative." Truss promised to cut taxes and grow the economy during her term. "I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply," said Truss. According to The Guardian, "And I will deliver on the National Health Service. But we all will deliver for our country, and I will make sure that we use all the fantastic talents of the Conservative Party, our brilliant members of Parliament, and peers." Opposition leader Keir Starmer of the Labour Party wasted little time attacking Truss and the Conservative Party for Britain's current economic challenges. "I'd like to congratulate our next Prime Minister, Liz Truss, as she prepares for office," Starmer said in a Twitter post. "But after 12 years of the Tories, all we have to show for it is low wages, high prices, and a Tory cost of living. Only Labour can deliver the fresh start our country needs."
And I'm going to waste little time in making fun of his name. He's called Keir. What does that even mean? I've never heard of that before. Okay, so what goes better than traffic with California? Nothing. Except for when you have a house in the way. So cars have hit this Californian house 23 times. Homeowner begs city to take action. The trouble started in the early 1970s when the Interstate 680 was built through California. The highway's Jackson Avenue exit was built just across the road from Ray Minter's house. With cars flying in from the highway as they turned onto the surface streets, unfortunately, this left Minter's house directly in the firing line for anyone coming in too hot, with his house suffering much carnage since then. Oh boy. Of the 23 cars to hit his house so far, Minter says that 4 of those cars made it as far as his kitchen. He's also had 3 of his own cars totaled from other cars barreling into the property. One of the worst crashes was in 2016. I believe I have a picture of it. Severely damaging the structure of Minter's home and leaving his car a wreck. You can kind of see a separate car mangled behind the first car. Minter has pled with city and state officials for years, hoping to find a solution to the problem. In particular, he's requesting that right turns be banned from the center lane, which he cites as the cause for most of the cars that have hit his home of late. Despite his calls for action, nothing has changed in the last 50 years. With help from the city not forthcoming, Minter has taken matters into his own hands. He's fabricated his own defenses, consisting of metal poles sunk deep into the ground to stop cars hitting his house. He's also erected a stout brick wall and placed large rocks in his front yard for additional protection. What about a moat with alligators? Minter says he spent over $30,000 constructing various barriers over the years, but that's not enough. All of them have been replaced several times, Minter says, of the metal poles, adding twice a car has hit them and bounced right off. But sometimes, depending on how a car comes in, it doesn't protect us at all. Ugh. While nobody in Minter's family has been seriously injured, there have been several close calls. One woman's car caught air after hitting a curb, landing on Minter's driveway just where his father had been sitting minutes earlier. Scary. Another incident saw Minter's niece tagged by a car while playing outside. The toddler was taken to the hospital, but thankfully didn't suffer any major injuries. Which leads to the big question, why doesn't he move? But I guess you could either use it as a selling point for adrenaline junkies, or it would be a deterrent to selling his home, but it'd be awful hard to explain away the huge barriers in front of his home if you wanted to sell.
Right. The other question is, why is this guy's toddler playing in the front yard when you know that every so often a car comes barreling in?
Right.
Doesn't sound like the most responsible individual.
Oh, well, it's only happened like once every 2 years, so.
So, you
What
know,
are you gonna do?
let's gamble a little bit with it, right?
So, we have a special reporter. We have Rande from GoMidwestFishing. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the Minnesota State Fair.
Hey everyone, this is Randy from GoMidwestFishing reporting from Minnesota. Today is Labor Day. It marks the unofficial end to summer here in Minnesota and also the last day of the Minnesota State Fair. Now, if you've never been to the Minnesota State Fair, I might be a little biased, but I think it's the best state fair in the country and one of the most popular things for Minnesotans to do this time of year. So if you've never done it, it's worth the drive up to Minnesota to try it. They have pretty much everything you can imagine. Some of my favorite things is they have a lot of campers out that you can go walk around and check out and see what you want for your next camper. They also have an eco building, which is all things environmentally friendly. I love walking through there. My son, Reed, who also has his own channel called Reed the Naturalist. He'll have a video coming out on the fair here real soon, so check that out. But he loves the butterfly house. He can sit in there for hours. And his latest favorite thing is the cheese carving contest, and it might have something to do with him winning first place. And of course they have the midway for all the carnival rides. They have one for the smaller kids and a separate section for the bigger kids with some really huge rides. Now I will warn you, it does get pretty popular, especially on the weekends or nice weather days. You can have upwards of 250,000 people there per day, and it gets really crowded. Now another thing the fair is known for is food on a stick. They have all kinds of crazy food. This year they had pickle pizza, which had lines that were an hour and a half long. So we asked someone in line if it was worth it, and they said it was good, but probably not worth the hour and a half wait. And as you can see behind me, I have a vineyard here. So I'm all into the wines, and they also have a wine place there where you can test all the local wines, do wine flights, and get some food there too. It's one of my favorite spots at the fair. And like I said, Labor Day is kind of the last weekend Minnesotans get out, get their boat on the lake, go up to their cabins, and just get outside and go camping, do some fun stuff. It's also a great time to go fishing for some fall muskies. That's when the trophies are caught. And I'm currently over here, let me show you right now. This is my canoe I've been working on here for the last week, trying to get it ready to go down the river. This next weekend, I'm going to take it on a 2-day journey down one of the rivers here in Minnesota and looking for some Minnesota river monsters. So hopefully I'll catch a big muskie, a big northern, walleye or bass, and it's going to be a really good show. So be sure to go check out Go Midwest Fishing here in the near future. I'll have that video up for you to see. All right, this was Randy reporting from Minnesota. Back to you guys at Corn-Fed Life.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks for that fascinating report. And I'm going to definitely put that on my plans for next year. Got to make it up to that fair. It sounds like a real fun one. And just to tell you a little about Randy, his channel is Go Midwest Fishing. Make sure to check it out. We'll have a link below. And he has a really fun channel. He does obviously a lot of fishing, but he does a lot of other cool stuff as well. One of my favorite recent videos was when he wrapped his boat with a really awesome wrap all about his, had his channel logo and really cool fish, and he showed how to do that yourself and save thousands of dollars. So make sure you check that one out. We had the opportunity to meet Randy in person. He was one of the first YouTubers we met on a trip up to Minnesota, and just a genuinely nice guy, and we are thrilled to have him on You News. Thanks, Randy.
And one little known fact about Randy that he seems to make little known because he doesn't want to brag, is what I suspect. But he is a commercial airline pilot. Very fascinating line of work.
Yep, so he flies all night and fishes all day. Or something like that.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for visiting us once again. And we look forward to tomorrow's cast of
You News. God bless.